Oh, now.
You're listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Game Week, Game 1 episode, preview episode for the 23 Personnel Podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Michael, what's up, man?
Preview episode. I just thought we would spend this entire time dissecting Notre Dame, how well they're going to be and why they should be ranked number 2 in the country.
Are they back?
I mean, they're Notre Dame.
College football's back, though, man.
Yeah, I know. It was great. I enjoyed, as one-sided as that game got, I still really enjoyed the first half. I liked Navy's offense. It was just fun to see how many different ways they could figure out how to not throw a pass. I think their quarterback threw 6 passes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, it was great. I really enjoyed that. And then I hate to say that I missed the comeback. The comeback. I missed it. I was there for the start of the game, and it was not going well, but I missed apparently they rattled off they spotted him 17 points. They spotted him, was it Long Island? No, Florida International.
Yeah, Florida International.
And then we're like, nah, we're just kidding, guys. We're actually going to win this game now.
Yeah, I tuned into that game before half, and I was like, hey, boys, this isn't looking good for our man, Mr. Cumby out there. But
yeah, it was a rough go. It's a rough start. Defense was
but they came back
shaky.
Because they had he had the sweet fortune of going up against an offensive coordinator who, despite wanting to be an air raid offensive coordinator, threw the ball 6 times, and I think netted 2 yards.
No way. They only threw 6 times?
I'm almost positive. I will look it up just to I may be reciting some facetious recollection.
Well, I mean, we're while we're talking about fellow tech school with red colors and a Red Raider involved, all-timer name, Smoke Harris, 5'7" wide receiver, fast, shifty. Sometimes they'd pitch him the ball. He was fun to watch.
Excuse me. They had 14 attempts.
14. I was like, it's got to be more than that, even though that is still a very, very small amount. Okay, so I guess we could. That's ends the show. So we just wrap it up now.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to end the show and only dunk on David Yost and how
you should have been wearing your
is.
Air Raid shirt to do that.
I may have to retire that permanently.
The Air Raid shirt might be see-through. It's very close. It's got a few models on it.
It does. I bought that. I think I believe Bro designed it.
He might have.
Anyways, that's good times. We have plenty of Big 12 football to talk about, including Texas Tech football. My goodness, it never felt like it was going to get here, but here we are. We've got actual games this week, Thursday. Big 12 games on Thursday. Mm-hmm. Kent State traveling to Orlando. We've got Kansas hosting Missouri State on Friday. And then everybody else playing on Saturday. So we'll get through that, and we'll talk about our preview for the Cowboys, tell you why their offense sucks and their defense could be salty. Go through the depth chart quickly because there weren't any surprises, maybe one. But when we give a projection based off of what we had been hearing on the message boards and from Don Williams, we got what we were expecting basically. So we'll talk about that, how they're going to line up against Wyoming, And then preview the game, man.
Yeah.
Give you our actual point projections. I know we predicted a win. There's a line on this game. We'll do all that, man, and more. So
I'm showing you my bald eagle Tervis cup.
Oh, there it is.
It just felt like it was Wyoming appropriate. It's brown. It's brown and gold. See,
Sticking with my 23 personnel.
We're friendlies here down in West Texas.
Anyways, I don't have anything else, man. I just want to get into talking some football, some actual football. So
let's do it.
You ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
A pump fake. And over the middle. It is caught. It's Martinez. Nehemiah. Touchdown. Crossing pattern. There it is. Miles Price. He's got room. Down the sideline. Miles and miles and miles. 54 yards. A touchdown.
Look at the end zone. Bradley! He's got it! What a start for Texas Tech!
And handed off Brooks. Finds the hole. Brooks up the middle, and he's gone. Touchdown, Texas Tech. Daniels will go to the throw. Looking towards the end zone. It is Smith. And it's intercepted. Adrian Taylor Demerson.
Morton runs it over the middle, and it's caught. Bradley breaks a tackle, sprints in the end zone, and touchdown, Texas Tech. Shuck winds up the deep ball, sideline, caught, touchdown, Raiders. What a throw.
And now the senior scores. Hutchings with the senior moments. Gabriel. And is it picked off? It is. Adrian Taylor Demerson somehow rips away an interception. Design quarterback run. Yes. Touchdown, Texas Tech. Looking for a bunch. A man's open. Touchdown, Jared Bradley. Hand off Thompson. Again, the dead leg. Thompson. Touchdown, Texas Tech.
Play action for Dart. Pass flops and it's intercepted. Waters has it, Money Waters. Another big play for the Red Raiders. Shuck's going to keep it again. Shuck dives in the end zone, and he's got the touchdown.
For the win. Did he? He did! Texas Tech, a winner!
Right. Texas Tech, a winner. We are so very much looking forward to hearing that on Saturday night. Let's roll through the Big 12 first, Michael, before we get to Texas Tech. And then we'll do our full-on preview, man. What do you say?
I've been waiting since December for this moment.
Well, I'd hate to keep you waiting any longer, man.
It's cool. I also found out that Snickers makes a protein bar now while we were.
Is it an actual protein bar? Is it one of those things? Because there have been a handful of accounts I've seen on TikTok that will just for fun, they're graphic designers, they'll rebrand something to make it sound healthy. Like,
fuel up with epic taste and 20 grams of protein.
Not a
sponsor,
protein,
by the way. This is not some viral marketing scam. I just really like Snicker bars, and this was in my feed because, of course, it was. Okay.
Well, there you go.
So grab you a protein bar and let's go through the Big 12 picks. My bad.
All right, Thursday night, Kent State going to UCF monster line 34.5. Is our boy not Sorrells, the offensive coordinator from Shallowater, is he still there? Kent State?
Ooh, good question.
Now, that's downright disrespectful. 35 points.
Do you think UCF's going to cover at home in the bounce house?
No.
That's a big spread. That's a really big
huge.
line.
It's monstrous.
Huge. I'm with you. I would take Kent State plus 34.5. just so it's very large. It makes me smile to even say the line.
Some of these other ones are actually like pretty comical. Yeah. It will get there. So Missouri State at Kansas, because it's FCS. There is no line. Kansas money line, obviously, because I'm a big believer in the Jayhawks this year.
You are.
Okay. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think Missouri State's got a shot here?
Nah, Kansas will win.
All right. Saturday, Colorado at TCU. TCU is getting a healthy 21 points, man. That is, I don't know, man. I don't know about TCU. I know Colorado could be just epically disastrous. They could also be not as bad because you don't really know what Deion's put together, but 21 seems like a lot. I want to take Colorado to cover, man.
That's where I'm leaning to. I am a confirmed TCU hater, so that kind of plays into that part of my personality. But it's not like I don't see TCU winning this.
Oh no,
like you said,
I think they're going to win.
Yeah, it's such a question mark. I mean, I think Fort Worth's going to be. They may actually have some fans there. That would be good. There might be a.
Will they be Colorado fans?
They could be. Or
you talk about having fans there. Yeah.
Just a bunch of Cowboys fans dying for some football.
Alabama fans with JoJo Earl?
I guess. But I mean, I could see TCU winning this by 17 or 14 or something. I don't necessarily think TCU's going to lose or anything, but 21's a big ask for me. With how much they lost last year, despite Colorado coming in with just one win last year. So, yeah, Colorado plus 21.
Arkansas State at OU, 33.5 for the Sooners.
Just to be kind of different, I might take OU because that is a ridiculous line. I think
it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, I think there's a chance we could see that.
Okay, so the next one, I have to shout out Seth at Second Plans because he wrote, like, he took some absolute body shots at Iowa State. So Northern Iowa at Iowa State, there's no line, presumably because it is an FCS game, although it's possible that they just didn't want Iowa State players betting on Iowa State games.
It's a risk now.
It is a proven thing that happens up their names. I can't even tell you like what I think about Northern Iowa. It will probably be closer than you think it should be.
Well, all I know is that the Cyclone Larry has been going bonkers today about how big Iowa State's offensive line is. So,
is that going to matter if they don't have a quarterback or a running back?
Well, I mean, it matters a lot. It matters a lot to Iowa State fans.
They'll be standing there, all resolute like they're a pedestrian bridge. But will it actually make a difference in the game?
Yeah,
who knows?
I'm not quite sure. Maybe they will part the waters for RB3 to run through and get some yards, get downfield.
Rice
get some pass protection to not Deckers.
Yeah, anyways, Rice at Texas, 35, huge line. I still think Texas can and probably will cover this.
I think so too.
Eastern Kentucky at Cincinnati, no line. Cincinnati's going to be down this year. Not that bad. Cincinnati is going to win this one. Southeast Missouri at Kansas State, no line. Kansas State. All right, here's one of the things. So we have to throw back to our Big 12 preview from last week. Is Baylor good enough to cover a 26-point spread versus Texas State? I'm not saying Texas State's any good. 26 is a lot of points.
How many points did Baylor average last year?
I can find that out really quickly.
Because that just seems like a lot to ask in general.
All right. So
yeah, go ahead.
They were 6 and 7. The page isn't loading. They went 6 and 7 last year. Last Sunrise in the comments here. Texas State plays Baylor tough. Yeah, they do. They get up for that trip. Baylor scored on average 32 points per game
So
while giving up 27. So they're asking a lot to win by 26. Because I don't want to believe in Baylor. Give me Texas State to cover this.
yeah, that's where I was heading to.
Okay, so one of the
We've
lines
agreed
that,
on every one of them so far,
which means we're
always
all
good.
going to be wrong.
Yeah.
This other one caught my eye because it was funny. UTSA at Houston. Houston is a slight dog at home.
It's a pick 'em, but they are a dog at home.
Point half. They're a half point underdog at home to the Roadrunners. So essentially, who's going to win this game? I want to believe Houston's not that bad. Like UTSA had their shot, and they're not bottom cellar dwellers. But geez, I mean, you'd think offensively they'll be able to keep up with the vaunted Roadrunner offense, right?
Well, I mean, last year, I should have looked into this game a little bit more. I actually did watch it last year, and it was at UTSA, and it went into either single or double overtime.
That's
and
right.
Houston got really lucky during those periods. I think UTSA was up 2 scores or something late, really late, and Houston was somehow able to get it to overtime. I'm not seeing that magic happen again, even though this is at home.
They went to triple overtime.
It was triple. Okay. It was an insane game. And it was like week 1. It was great. It was it was a really good way to start off the season.
It was week 1. In 3 overtimes, Michael, Houston scored 13 points.
I'm going to take UTSA. I just don't think they have the same. I think they're better coached.
It did take us
out on a limb to say that, and I just don't think Houston's going to have the same luck they did last year. And I know different rosters, different everything, but that's how I'm picking this one.
It did take a 17-point fourth quarter from the Cougars to send it to overtime.
It was nuts.
I know we talked about how much Houston's replacing basically any significant contributors gone. They got a good running back from West Virginia. They got Donovan Smith. Defensively, they're going to be bad. But I mean, it's the Roadrunners, right? Like they're better than that. I don't know. Give me Houston to win. One of their only games.
All right, we'll be different on this.
We disagree. Central Arkansas, Central Arkansas and Oklahoma State. I'm only interested in this game to see which quarterbacks start or just play for Oklahoma State. Apparently, our man Alan Bowman still hasn't won that job, which is.
Wait, are you serious? Have I missed out on this? I thought he was named. Did they not?
No.
What?
No, he Gundy said like basically he pulled McGuire from last year, like all three will play.
Oh.
And yeah, so Gundy's son is one of the I think they have 3 quarterbacks and Gundy's one of them. Bowman, but I think there's somebody else in that mix too. Either way, Oklahoma State's going to win this one, but
yeah,
goodness. West Virginia at Penn State. Penn State is a 3-touchdown favorite. Give me Penn State to cover.
Yeah, me too. I'm not. yeah. It's 20 and a half. Penn State minus 20 and a half.
If you had this as a prop bet, Michael, would you take it? Alan Bowman completes a pass over 25 yards
on Saturday
versus Central Arkansas.
Man, if he hasn't been named, you know what? Yes, I would take that because even if he's not named a starter, theoretically, he should be playing in the third quarter.
You would hope.
When they're up by 21, or who knows.
FBS newcomer Sam Houston on the road in Provo at BYU. BYU is a healthy 23-point favorite. Another one of those teams where I don't know what we're going to see with BYU. Sam Houston was a good FCS team, so it's not like they've been bad, but like still, it's a huge jump, right? Even like really good FCS teams, unless you're North Dakota State, like you're getting blown out in the second half just because of depth issues. Man, give me the Cougars to cover.
Well, you mentioned that this is a really good matchup because last week you talked about their defensive coordinator, and by they I mean BYU's, is from the FCS.
Yeah, from Utah Valley or Southern Utah, or Weber State, one of those Utah schools.
So this could line up really well, but partially just to be different, I'm going to take Sam Houston, and because Texas forever.
Well, 23 is a big number.
How dare you root against a Texas team? That was always the golden rule growing up. Well, you got to root for Texas teams. No, I really don't. But in this case, I'm going to.
Well, don't you know, as a member of this church, I'm a BYU fan second, right?
Yes, of course.
Just kidding.
I do.
I don't subscribe to that. There are a ton of people when BYU comes to Texas. When they play in Lubbock, you'll see a lot of Lubbock BYU fans.
You'll see. What's the over under on Dr. Pepper consumption? Tailgates.
Well, I don't know if it would be Dr. Pepper because I don't know where they fall in the Coke, Dr. Pepper, Pepsi Venn diagram, like where their taste, but it's gonna be high. It's gonna be up there.
It's gonna be up there. All right.
Texas Tech 14-point favorites on the road. Let's tell you how they're going to get there, Michael. Texas Tech heading to Laramie, Wyoming. Supposedly, based on the research of our good friends Galen Gauchos, the highest elevation college football stadium in America. Up there for the Cowboys. They are. I'm gonna reference some S&P Plus numbers. Team ranking: Wyoming is 90th. Texas Tech is 32nd. This is preseason, heading into the season. The Cowboys. Are they Cowboys?
Yes.
I've been saying that. I'm like, wait, that didn't feel right. Okay. Led by head coach Craig Bohl, 10th season, just barely under 500 for his career. I think it's like 490 something, but it's one of their better ones, one of their better head coaches. They've past couple years have been they're decent. They've gone 7-6 twice. They had a winning record in the Mountain West last year, tied for second. They were 5-3 in conference. Lost a heartbreaker to Ohio in the Arizona Bowl, 7-6-21. Tied for fourth in the Mountain West, but did that by going 2-6. But defeated our man Souter. His name's Souter. I was thinking Sorrells, but that's basketball. Souter.
I know, yeah.
At Kent State, 52-38 in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. They didn't have to go very far for that one.
Yeah, the last 4 bowls they've been in have been the same 2 bowls.
Arizona and the Idaho.
Yeah. Idaho Potato Bowl, Arizona. Idaho Potato Bowl, Arizona.
Yep. If you missed it really quickly, we'll run through the depth chart for Texas Tech, so you can get a feel for what we're going to see. Starting offense: Tyler Shuck at quarterback, Taj Brooks. Your receivers, your outside receivers are going to be Loic Fouonji, Jerand Bradley. Inside starters will be Dre McCray, Miles Price. Your tight end, Baylor Cupp or Mason Tharp. Left tackle, Monroe Mills. Left guard, Cole Spencer. Center, Rusty Stats. Right guard, Dennis Wilburn. Right tackle, Caleb Rogers. When we went through our preview and projection not that long ago, this was essentially what we had thrown out there. The only difference, I think, would have been we would have had Xavier White starting at the other inside receiver spot where Dre McCray is slotted to start. Because I think we'd heard McCray was working with outside receivers. Whatever. He's going to be your starting H receiver. But that's the receiver position within this offense that will be subbed out most frequently when the tight end is on the field. So those you're starting 11 or 12 really, but 12 positions for the offense. No surprises for me. Depth. Your second string running back, Cameron Valdez. Excited about that 1-2 punch. Bryson Donnell for the third guy, which I think you'll start to see him a little bit more week 3, if not some this weekend, but definitely week 3. Your backups for your outside receivers. So Jordan Brown is going to be out there with Fungi, and JJ Sparkman will be behind Bradley. Inside, supposedly behind McCray, will be Brady Boyd. Behind Price is Xavier White and Nehemiah Martinez. And then your offensive line, hopefully you roll with these 5. I don't know if you would just plug and play the second string guy if somebody gets hurt. But what we've seen a lot is just some shuffling around. Like, if Mills goes out at left tackle, does Caleb Rogers flip over to left and Ty Buchanan step up, or they just go straight to Matt Keeler at left tackle? It doesn't really matter, but your second string offensive line, Matt Keeler, Jacoby Jackson, Sheridan Wilson, Lennon Peterson, Ty Buchanan. Any surprises there, Michael?
No, I mean, like you mentioned, Xavier White, and I was kind of hoping that Nehemiah Martinez might be not third string right now, but we'll just see how the rest of it plays out. I know it's just kind of a place to start for most of these guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think what's exciting about that for me is we know how good Xavier White and Nehemiah Martinez are. As you know, we've seen flashes of them. Xavier White's been here for forever. Nehemiah Martinez had some good plays last year. But to be offset, by newcomer and Dre McCray, I think is just telling just how well he's taken to the offense so quickly.
Yeah, that's definitely a positive to take from it. And I mean, not that I expected Sparkman to be out there ahead of Bradley or Fungi. I'm just really excited to see him play, and I think he may work he may work into quite a few reps.
Yeah. Defensively, there was, I guess, a surprise for me in the cornerback rotation, but I mean, we had heard it, especially from Don Williams. He was talking about, like, basically you got 3 starting cornerbacks vying for 2 spots. But up front, and linebackers, no surprises. Your edge, Miles Cole. Your interior tackles, Jalen Hutchings, Tony Bradford. Your rush, outside linebacker will be Steve Linton. Middle linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez. Your weak side, your will linebacker, Josiah Pierre. Your star, CJ Baskerville. And then your field cornerback. I don't know how tied to, short side, field and boundary that will be tied, like if they'll flip every time the play shifts across the field. But basically, one side of the secondary will be Rashad Williams at corner and Rabbit at safety. On the other side, Tyler Owens at safety, and then Braylon Lux or Malik Dunlap was listed at the other cornerback, with Lux being listed first. Which I think is telling because of how confident we all were in the Rashad Williams and Malik Dunlap pairing at corner, to then have transfer newcomer Braylon Lux to be able to step in there and maybe even unseat Dunlap as a starter. But if you need a third cornerback, if you're going to roll with a dime type package where you're going to sub off, a linebacker and need another corner coverage guy, I don't think you take a hit there in terms of your ability. My not surprise, but my concerns with this defense, and I've said it all along, is just your inside linebackers, your middle linebacker, your weak side linebacker. They've played a bunch. Josiah Pierre is in a new position. Jacob Rodriguez was coming on last season. Tyreek Matthews has played. He's listed as the backup to Rodriguez. But man, like you look at linebackers, then you're not really talking about skill as so much potential, right? Like you're not saying these guys have been here forever. Like everywhere else you can say, man, Miles Cole, Jalen Hutchings, Tony Bradford, anything like that. It's like Rodriguez looked good last year. He played. He was coming on a little bit. Josiah Pierre was pretty good, but he was coming to do it. He's playing a new position this season. So, want to see that group kind of tightened up a little bit and really feel some confidence there. Because if you got a hole right there in the middle, I don't know how that's gonna affect your defensive effectiveness, but we'll see. Because Wyoming's going to try to run the ball, and if they're going to be able to get through the line, you got a couple of new linebackers there that will need to figure out how to play those positions. So,
yeah, I mean, I think the biggest positive for me is just look at this. This is a 3 deep. This is incredible to me, and none of these names are repeats that I can tell. I mean, maybe I've missed some, but we have a 3 deep on every defensive position. There are 3 guys capable, except for safety.
Joseph Plunk is listed twice.
Okay. But there's just really, it's not like I remember seeing last year where it seemed like there were a lot of guys listed twice. And
yeah, they were like, if this one guy goes down, he's going to shift completely across the field, but because he's the backup at whatever.
Yes, he's second string, cornerback with third string safety, and so or whatever it was.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's promising to me. And then the starters, like you said, they're proven guys, and if everybody can stay healthy, I feel really good about it. What'd you crack up?
No, it's just a comment about us bringing somebody back down to earth, talking about the defense, because we've been so high on the potential of this team. No, I think there's still a lot to be excited about, and I think this team could still be really good, especially on defense. There's some definite potential there, but I think for me, my concern will be not so much settled or satiated or whatever you talk about concern after the first game, but just I want to feel more comfort with the linebackers. Depth wise, you were talking about the 3 deep. My only concern with a lot of the depth is no, they're not repeats, but they're a lot of young guys.
Sure.
Joseph Adedire is going to back up Miles Cole. He's not so much a young guy, but because he played and was looking pretty good last year. Hoping to maybe even redshirt him, but as the backup, I don't know if that's gonna work out. Transfer defensive tackle Quincy Ledette will be behind Hutchings, Duda or Demarion Banks backing up Tony Bradford. Behind those guys, Charles Esters, Blake Burris, Trey McAlpine. Rush end Bryce Ramirez or Isaac Smith. Would love to see Bryce Ramirez be able to get back on there. Isaac Smith, I remember him playing a lot during the Oklahoma game, looked pretty good. Your linebackers, Tyreek Matthews, Ben Roberts, Wesley Smith, maybe even Ty Kenna. Star. So behind CJ Baskerville, Brennan Jordan is a true freshman, Joseph Plunk. Corner, Jalen Peoples, I believe is a freshman. Cameron Watts, Chapman Lewis backing up Rabbit at safety. Plunk is the primary backup for Tyler Owens. So he was 3rd on the depth chart for Star, but he's the backup for the boundary safety. So at least there's some overlap there with positions that it's a safety. Then Jordan Sanford there. And then behind Malik Dunlap and Braylon Lux on the other corner is Marion Horn. So like I said, lots of youth there. Would like for them to get experience, but not out of necessity. I want to see them be able to pick up snaps in games where Texas Tech's got a lead, and we got the luxury of spreading out the snaps a little bit. Specialists, Michael, let's talk about them for a second. No surprise here with the punter, Austin McNamara, the kicker, Gino Garcia. I believe he started off as a starting kicker. Was it last year or the year before he got replaced by Trey Wolf?
Yeah, I think it was last year.
Kickoff specialist will be Reese Burkhart. It's a new addition to the roster. Your primary kick returner, Jordan Brown, but you also have Xavier White and Miles Price back there, and then punt returner, Miles Price. So
I didn't see Drew Hocutt on there.
I'm okay with that, honestly.
Yeah, so am I.
All right. This game, I know we talked about we were going to be quick with the depth chart. Wyoming, they have their depth chart. We'll start with the offense, and we'll go with the preview. Overall, though, Michael, they've got a special stripe out planned this weekend. Do you think that brings any extra juice for the Cowboys fans?
I think it will, because we joke about being people's Super Bowls and whatnot. I mean, it's just used for everything now. Like pumpkin spice is my Super Bowl, maybe, possibly. Pumpkin spice in August. We'll get to that later. But I think there's already going to be enough juice anyway. I think it's going to be a great crowd. Texas Tech, we know that people have heard of us, and we're coming to a smaller school, not a lesser school, just a smaller school. And I think people are going to come out in force and be anxious to see what their defense can do against a Big 12 offense, and hope that they're back, which we'll talk about later, which is kind of a really big question mark right now. We'll be able to run the ball, because this is a very run-heavy offense. But yeah, I think the stripe out could help bring some juice. I just think it's going to be a great atmosphere. There's a lot of guys we know personally that are going. I'm very jealous of every single one of them. There was no way I could commit to that this year, but I've got to do a big time road trip, road game someday.
I would love to do that. We have been to a Texas Tech road game, but it wasn't all that far. We went to Albuquerque the year that Seth Dagey threw like 7 touchdowns and like 4 incompletions.
Crap, that was with was it Darren Moore?
I think so.
I think he had like 6 TDs that game or something. It was something. We were like, oh, Michael Crabtree 2.0, we're good to go.
I do remember
no worries.
There were a lot of fans that were entering in front of the Texas Tech section, because we were like in a corner, but there was like a pathway egress into the stadium. But
you've got 3 kids, I've got 1. No big deal. Let's just rent a very large RV and just drive to Eugene next year.
With all the planning, the road trip planning we were doing for the Wyoming game, there were several vehicles in play that we could have gone in on, and whether it was a modified like 1980s style conversion van, but it was sitting on like the chassis of a like 2500 dually or something.
Or like a modified Peterbilt.
Yeah, full on tractor trailer.
You probably need a CDL to drive, but that's fine. You can figure it out.
The map doesn't show where the stadium map doesn't show where visiting fans are going to be. So wherever that's going to end up, there's going to be a block of red there. It's going to break up the gold and brown. And I'm sorry, like, that's a terrible color combination. Brown in any sport. Brown in sports. So, but them and the Padres, man, just can't do brown.
I think the Cleveland Browns look okay when they have quite a bit of orange going with it,
because it's the orange.
That's fair.
So you brought up the rushing attack for Wyoming. Let's talk about the offense for the Cowboys. They last year were led by running back Titus Swin, 1,100-yard rusher, 5 yards per carries in the NFL. Did he make the 53-man roster for the Colts today?
I wrote that down yesterday, so I don't know. I know that he was
It's possible.
signed with them or whatever it is. He's practicing with them right now, so I'm not actually sure if he made the roster. But yeah, they've got a 1,000-yard rusher to replace.
Yeah, and the depth chart came out, an official depth chart as of the 21st. So it's been a week already. They're looking at Jamari Farrell. He's not a cat, dude. Jamari Farrell,
Will Ferrell.
DK James, Sam Scott. The problem is guys on the team that they've had experience from previously, like Dwayne McNeely, unfortunately tore an ACL recently, and he'll be out for the season. He was the projected starter. Jamari Farrell. I'm gonna go with Farrell.
Yeah,
I
would say Farrell.
Jamari Farrell. Okay, let's do Farrell. Jamari Farrell.
You could always trust me to get a name pronunciation correctly.
Saddleback Community College transfer in 5'8", so he's a little dude, 5'8", 200. Reminds me a lot of like some of that size would be like Washington that we had at Tech a few years ago. It was about that size. Or like Sadale Foster type size guy. DQ James, 5'7", 170. He did play a little bit last year, 40 carries, 355 on the ground, more than 8.5 yards per carry. He did have an ACL injury in 2022, so his season was shortened. So with their offense, super run heavy, they're going to a junior college transfer, and we all know it usually takes a year for those guys to make the adjustment. Backing him up is somebody that's coming off of a season-ending injury. Man, their offense, their rushing offense at least, could be, what they want to highlight, but timing wise, like they may have the chips stacked against them, man.
Yeah, and you brought up you've got another point up here. I looked into the
running.
running.
Oh, you want to talk about the offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, the guys opening the lanes for him. That's going to be kind of a tough challenge for Wyoming as well.
Yeah, they're starting 3 new guys on the offensive line. Basically, their only returning starter from last year is going to be their left tackle, Frank Crum. Their center, Nofa Afia Tulafono, has starting experience, but was not listed as a returning starter. New guys that they're breaking in this week. Left guard Wes King is a redshirt freshman, never played college football. Obviously, he's a redshirt freshman, redshirted last year. No snaps for him. Right guard Jack Walsh, redshirt sophomore. Right tackle Caden Barnett, also a redshirt sophomore. They have experience. They've played in a couple games, but trying to get 3 new guys on the offensive line to open up holes for a junior college transfer running back and a guy coming off of an ACL tear could be a tough row to hoe. Man.
Yeah, and 2 of the guys that you've got to move out of the way to do that are
Jalen
Mr.
Hutchings
and a Mr. Bradford.
Oh, and they're also going to have their hands full with Miles Cole.
Yeah.
And if they drop back to pass, Steve Linton.
Yeah. I wish Dwayne McNeely, and this is not us going extremely West Texas saying Dwayne with like an extra syllable. It's like Hawaiian, but with a D.
Yeah,
which is really cool. I like that one. So Dwayne McNeely, if he was healthy, I would feel a little bit more worried about this.
Yeah, dude's a bruiser, 6'2", 215.
Yeah. I mean, who was that kind of on the Giants? Like Brandon Jacobs?
Yeah.
The guy So it just kind of reminded me of a guy about that size and that build. But yeah, last year he rushed 63 attempts for 367 yards, averaged 5.7 yards per carry. He would have been a really good piece for them to have available this year. But with him out and then with the inexperience at the offensive line, this offense is I think they're really going to have some trouble on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. They may be leaning more on the arm of their quarterback, Andrew Peasley, is a grad transfer, but he'll be a second-year starter for Wyoming. Came from Utah State, played for them last year. Played for the Cowboys last year, 6'2", 220. Did run a little bit, 81 carries for almost 500 yards, about 4 yards per carry. Not very good passing. Like he was a running back that could throw. Completed only 52% of his passes for just under 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. So if they're leaning on Peasley, they're going to be throwing the ball out to Trayton Welch, tight end, Wyatt Wheeland, a slot guy, or Alex Brown, big guy outside, 6'4", 201. But man, like they may be really counting on their defense to keep him in this game, which I think is a tall task given what we have on offense.
Yeah, I mean, just for some context, Andrew Peasley, he threw 200 he attempted 275 passes last year, and that's about what Donovan Smith attempted for Texas Tech. Just to give you kind of an idea of the volume, they're just not really, they're not going to pass the ball much. And like you said, his percentage is low. He had 12 interceptions, pretty much averaged one every game. I think it was 12. Is that right? Where did I write that down? Oh, no, it was 9. It was 12 as a team. The backup had the other 3. So, I mean, there's options there. One of these cornerbacks fighting for a spot. maybe he takes one to the house or something and earns his spot.
Maybe he gifts one.
Yeah, on Saturday. So I wish I had a little bit more of a positive report, but the offense is not what I'm concerned with. I am concerned with, but I don't think the game's going to be this close. Let's just give John Hoyland a shout out, the kicker, before we get to defense.
It's almost 90% on his field goals, 22 of 25. He's got a leg. He's 4 or 5 over 50 yards.
Yes.
And was perfect on PATs.
Perfect on PATs. He hit 28 PATs last year and he only missed 3 field goals. So shout out to John Hoyland. I like kickers. I always like looking at the kicker stats. I don't know why.
Coming into the season, before even some of these injury news was breaking, I mean, their S&P plus rating for the offense is bad, 119th. And they'll be going up against the Texas Tech defense, which was ranked or projected as number 66. Last year they threw for 132 yards per game, rushed for 181 yards per game, just over 5 yards per play, which is not bad. I mean, that's pretty respectable with how much they were running the ball.
Yes.
Not great on third down, only 35%. Fourth down, they went for it 7 times, Michael, all year. 7 fourth down attempts.
How many times did Tech go for it against Ole Miss? Was it 7?
Something like that. I know it was 6 against Texas alone.
Yeah, so they're going to play it pretty conservative. Who knows? They may change that up, knowing they're kind of behind the gun. But I would be very surprised if they do a lot of fourth down attempts this Saturday.
Yeah, and so when you look at the numbers and they compare to Texas Tech defense last year, I don't know, without any data to update this, we're going to look at last year's performance. Typically, when there's a disparity, like when the offense isn't as good as the defense, I would say like they're going to meet in the middle. Like their pass yards per attempt, Texas Tech was giving up almost 8 yards per attempt last year to Wyoming's 5.7 yards per attempt. I don't think that'll be the case. I think it'll still remain pretty close to the 5 points. I'm just with the way that we talked about the Wyoming offense. They averaged just under 5 yards per carry on this season, under 35% on their third and fourth down conversions, and only put up 21 points per game. Texas Tech allowed 30 points per game. Again, that's not one of the categories where I see them kind of meet in the middle. I don't know if Wyoming will get 21 points. I don't think they will.
Yeah, I don't either.
Defensively, though, for the Cowboys, this is where they have some hope, at least in their conference schedule. Looking ahead, we talked about the returning production episode. Returned basically everybody from their defense. Projected number 62 on defense, which is better than the Texas Tech offense at 66. Sorry, better than the Texas Tech defense at 66. Wyoming defense at 62, but they will be facing the number 15 offense from Texas Tech. They are led by Jay Chevelle, DC, previously defensive coordinator at Minnesota and Wake Forest. They returned 79% of the returning production from 2022, which is good for 31st in the country. Run essentially a base 4-3, but against a team like Texas Tech, you won't see 3 linebackers on the field. That'll be more of a nickel, or maybe even a dime type defense. They did give up 217 yards through the air per game, a bunch on the ground, 154 yards on the ground. They held teams to only 38%. They were 73 of 91 on third down. Not good on fourth down, 10 of 18. They allowed teams to convert 56% of their fourth down attempts. But here's where they have some hope. They return key guys at basically every level of the defense, Michael. Tackles, ends, linebackers, and defensive backs, man. Up front, 2 guys you'll need to know, defensive tackles, Cole Godbout and Jordan Bertinoli. I did know how to say that because I heard his name said. In the middle, they combined for 83 tackles and 5 sacks, which is a lot of sacks for defensive tackles. Their ends are even more impressive. I think Devon Harris, 57 tackles, 8.5 sacks. Braden Siders, although he's listed behind Harris on the depth chart, last year they played opposite each other. Siders had 44 tackles and 7 sacks. So their ends combined for 15.5 sacks.
Gosh.
So their ends can get after a man. But strangely enough, Siders is listed behind Harris on the depth chart. Don't know what's going on there. Middle linebacker, as you would expect on any kind of stout defense, led the team in tackles with 121. Michael, that is a ton. I don't have Merriweather's numbers in front of me, but it was like up there. 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown. I don't know if that was all the same play, but dude was able to force a turnover and then convert those into points. Next to him, weak side linebacker Shea Suanoa, 73 tackles, second on the team in tackles. So you go from first, 121, and middle linebacker Easton Gibbs, to their second guy, only 73 tackles, 50 tackle difference there. He did add 1 interception. Defensive backs Wyatt Eckler, 67 tackles, 7 passes broken up, 1 interception, 1 forced fumble and recovery. Safety Isaac White, 66 tackles and 3 passes broken up. And then the corner Ja'Cory Hawkins was actually big in their game against BYU last year. But he's second on the team with passes broken up with 8 and an interception. So those are just the returners, Michael. Guys that started and played a lot of minutes, a lot of snaps for the Cowboy defense last year. Basically their entire defense. I think they may be starting a new corner.
Man.
Because you've got two tackles, 2 ends, a middle linebacker, a weak side linebacker, 2 safeties, and a corner. So what's left? Corner and a nickel, maybe, which is where you'd get exposed, right? With a team like Texas Tech, you can't rely on just one guy locking down all these receivers. We're going to throw out 4 at you every play. Ja'Cory Hawkins can't be everywhere, but if they've got a hope for at least this season, it's going to be that they're going to have a pretty good defense with a bunch of old guys on it with a bunch of experience. Going up against Texas Tech, though, their defense, they gave up 217 pass yards per game at 6.5 yards per attempt. Texas Tech averaged getting 302 yards at 6.9 yards per attempt. The defense kept teams to 154 yards on the ground. Texas Tech was running for about 159. Big difference there is Wyoming was allowing teams 4.3 yards per carry, where Texas Tech was rushing for just 3.9. That number will increase, one because of the offensive line for Texas Tech, but just with this defense, Texas Tech was converting more than 42% of the third and fourth downs. The Wyoming defense was allowing teams to convert just under 40%. They gave up 24 points per game. Texas Tech was scoring 34 points per game. So the spread we mentioned earlier is Texas Tech minus 14. That's a lot of points on the road, but I think my confidence here, they do have a good defense. Just won't be enough for this week. They're going to have Shuck and Brooks and Bradley. It's just, the three-headed monster just right there on its own, behind the offensive line that we talked about, just the depth top to bottom on the offense. Over under set at 53.5. So what is that saying? Projected 35-21, 30.
Yeah, something like that.
33-17. I promise I can do math. 33-20, which would be a cover, but shoot. Give me Texas Tech to win this, obviously. Give me Texas Tech to cover. I'm going to take the good guys 45-17.
Oh, jumping out there. I'm going to give the defense just a little bit more pause. I do think that, like you mentioned before, that the Gauchos got into it, but I looked up the elevation of Laramie, and it's almost 7,200 feet above sea level. And so it's double what you see here in Lubbock, which is already a pretty high elevation. It's kind of one of those things that people don't really, it's sneaky. It's a sneaky high elevation up here on the Cap Rock. But I think that's recipe for, I'm back to my kickers, man. Some kickers kicking some field goals. So I've got Tech going 38, facing a formidable defense, a defense that's by S&P Plus metrics as good as Texas Tech, supposedly. I don't know if they have the depth or not, but they obviously have the talent on the starters. And, what they were able to amass last year is really impressive. And the kind of pressure that these guys can get on the quarterback, even against this more experienced offensive line. It's an offensive line that, they're more experienced, but they might be slightly rusty, some of them. They just haven't seen game time play in a little bit. So I'm got Tech winning 38, and then I'm gonna pick Wyoming to go 16. I don't see this offense really scoring or getting in the end zone that much, but man, if they get close, that kicker's gonna knock 3 through. So that's where my
it's true
comes in.
I was
and that gets me the over just barely, because I just couldn't take the under.
The more I was thinking about it, 17 feels like a lot for that offense.
Yeah,
honestly,
and that's why I went 16, because that would just be one time in the end zone, in theory.
I'm gonna adjust a little bit.
You're changing
45-10.
Don't ever change, baby.
No, I'm changing the Texas Tech defensive performance to hold the Cowboys to one fewer touchdown, man.
Whew. You're
all right.
Really going for a
statement victory right out of the gate.
That's cool.
Because I think the offense under second year coordinators and coaches, everybody's in their second year in the system. Like everybody, it should be a step up. Offensive line is going to play a huge part in that too. So, where I'm going to be wrong is that Texas Tech won't score 45 points. They may score 31, maybe.
Yeah,
but
we're going to lose 3 plays or something because of that first down stuff.
Oh my gosh. Do you want to talk about that or no?
Do you have a strong opinion on it?
I rolled I don't know if Kyle did the math on this or if he just found a tweet that did the math. Again, it's just like any other sport they're trying to speed up, like Major League Baseball. They're not looking at the actual cause of what's slowing everything down, which is TV and all the commercials.
We can't change that.
But
No.
they want to change the actual gameplay. So they removed, what do you say, like
It was like 5 plays. I think it was
5 plays, which was,
it
what was
was
that like?
one sample, like he mentioned. It was week 0, small sample size, but last year I think most games averaged 68 plays and now they're averaging 63.
63.
Something like
So remove 5 plays, which I think was like, what do you say, 8% of the snaps to save 1% of the broadcast time, 3 minutes over 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Fantastic work, everybody.
Yeah. That's really good. Let's get some more commercials in there.
Yeah.
Speaking of commercials,
That'll
our sponsors are. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have sponsors.
I was looking through the notes. We'll have the tracker, the official pick tracker to keep us honest. We both picked this as a win. Obviously, we'll have an instant reaction Saturday evening.
That's right.
I'll be in Dallas, but we'll still make this thing happen. So we'll go live pretty shortly after the game has gone final, if not a little even earlier, if the game is in hand. Depending on what the kids are doing, they should be in bed by that point. I mean, it's a 6:30 kick. I mean, let's see, 3.5 hours puts us at 10. So be looking for us to
3 hours 27 minutes.
Okay, 9:57.
Yeah. Just think we could start 3 minutes earlier thanks to all these changes.
Well, if anything, the pace of play with an air raid style offense, man, will slow the game down a little bit.
Yeah.
Just kind of ironic that you run more plays and you throw the ball for more excitement, more action, lengthens the game. Whereas if you run the ball and be boring, it speeds it up. But we'll have an instant reaction. We'll keep you guys up to date on when that's going to happen, whether it's going to be towards the end of the fourth quarter as the game is wrapping up or right after it goes final. If you're following us at 23 Personnel on X, you will see us confirm those details. We will be live. We'll probably just do it all here on YouTube like we do every week. We're not flipping back and forth between 18 different platforms and trying to keep you guys on your toes. Just come hang out with us here, the YouTube studio at 23 Personnel. If you're not joining us weekly for the live shows, join us for the instant reaction. And then hop over to the Twitter Spaces, X Spaces, whatever we're calling these things, with the Gauchos as they do their week 1 Gauchos After Dark recap. But yeah, man, we got football this weekend. Texas Tech football. Can't wait. Let's wrap this up, Michael, and get to what do we learn. What do you think?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't know either.
All right. You talked about pumpkin spice. Can I confess something?
Please.
I am so pumped for fall. Yes, for the cooler weather and for football. We have a handful of those Airwick scent plug-in things around the house.
Yeah.
We had a grocery pickup today that included a batch of the pumpkin spice Airwick plug-in scents and a pumpkin waffle 3-wick candle. We're leaning into the pumpkin spice, man, and we're gonna hold off until September so we get any fall decorations up. We did this summer bucket list thing this year, and it was a lot of fun. We kept busy, and it was a way to just make sure we did things over the summer, that we made plans, and we had this big poster that Samantha designed up in the living room. We were able to like mark things off. Anyways, we got one coming for the fall. All that's going up on Friday, September. That's when I'll also plug in the scents, get that candle fired up, and just go all basic. I almost said it. Just basic with the pumpkin spice, man.
this is you are choosing this, and I support your choice.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
but I what I fear is the constant, how the goalposts get moved every single year. Where it's like, okay,
We
well, we're going to start doing pumpkin spice stuff in the 25th. So by the time it is Halloween, everyone is so done with pumpkin spice everything, and they're just dying to get on to peppermint everything. That so before Halloween's even done, Starbucks is going to have their peppermint mocha come
Yeah.
out, and then before Christmas they're going to be out, and it's just like, when does it stop? When does it stop? Why does it have to just start? Why does it have to keep starting so much earlier? Because then it just runs out, and then they shift gears. Like, no, I'm super basic. I almost always seek out at least one pumpkin spice latte sometime between now and whenever they quit selling them. But not when it's 97 degrees. I just can't do it.
We did have a nice little downpour tonight.
Yeah, it
Cool
was.
off.
That was
Very
something.
very fall weather. No,
Yeah.
I it'll reset, but like just like annual basis, it'll reset after Christmas because they can't get into spring and Easter stuff when we're still looking at snow and everything in January, February.
But they will.
Um,
There's going to be like
but
swimsuits. There's going to be swimsuits and stuff, and
Yeah.
pool toys on sale as they're clearing out the Valentine's Day stuff on the 15th of February.
Yeah, that's true. I also had a pumpkin spice flavored yogurt the other day, and I said, "This is delicious." It's too soon, but it's delicious.
Man, there was a Greek one that I
Yeah, Greek
really
yogurt
liked.
is so good.
Or Noosa? Whoever.
Okay.
That's a good yogurt brand.
Hmm.
But they had like some sort of they had some pumpkin one that I really enjoyed too. I didn't
Can
think
I
would.
give you some perspective from my marketing background? And it blew my mind. It didn't blow my mind. Excuse me. It cracked me up in the store when I was looking at it because it was like Oikos, a 000 Greek yogurt.
Oh yes, yeah.
Got like the black packaging, big bold letters, bold colors like stripes, red and blue, very manly, masculine packaging. Right next to it is Dannon Light and Fit Greek yogurt. It's in pale purple and pink packaging.
Yeah.
It's the same freaking yogurt, Michael. They're both packaged and sold by Dannon, but one's in black packaging and it says 000 in all caps, and one's light and fit and pink and frilly. And it's like they are selling the same yogurt to two different people because we can't not think like I'm a man. I can't eat yogurt out of a pink package.
I couldn't eat that tall, slender yogurt. I need this short, squatty yogurt.
Yeah,
This is the good kind.
they're both great yogurts, by the way. I'm
Sure.
not hard. Like I love the Greek yogurt now. Dannon, Oikos, the Dannon flavors. You have a little bit more variety there, but they make some good yogurt. That's
Yeah,
all.
we got onto a Noosa kick there for a while because that's what they had at Costco. And man, really enjoyed theirs. They have a bunch of, they have like lemon and blueberry, and they have a lot of fruit in them. Their vanilla is even really good. People sleep on vanilla yogurt. Like
No,
vanilla
that's what
bean.
I have every day. Vanilla yogurt every morning. Samantha used to put like the small little bit of chocolate chips in it. One, because you like the chocolate flavor, but chocolate difference in texture.
Yes. Like
I
some
just
granola.
yeah, because you can't just crunch into a chocolate chip. It's gonna have some resistance. I could leave that. I just give me the straight vanilla yogurt, man. Or mixing some fruit. But anyways, what other food take we got for the people, Michael?
Well, I learned someone posted this. Someone posted a retro Taco Bell menu, and it's really cool. I tweeted it out earlier this week. It got a lot of traction. 0 retweets and 0 likes. Like my normal tweets. But it's basically what threw me off is looking at this menu. It's like I'm looking at a current Taco Casa menu. It's like whoever founded Taco Casa grew up eating Taco Bell and then got really mad when Taco Bell changed the menu, and they're like, well, screw it, I'm just going to open my own restaurant. I'm going to have Taco Casa. It's also going to be 4 letters at the end. I'm going to slightly use some different colors, and I'm just going to serve the same damn menu. And that's what they're doing.
You know what
It's
cracks me up?
great. It is almost identical, Spencer. Are you seeing this?
Oh, yeah. And I love that they included pronunciation guides.
Yes.
Under taco, TAH hyphen CO.
Yes.
Burrito.
I really,
like,
what is the odds that when tortillas get tossed in Laramie, that someone's going to call them taco shells on a TV broadcast? Soft taco shells.
the tacos are flying.
The soft taco shells are flying here in Laramie.
Oh, I would love to see just like 300 style blacking out the sun of with arrows of just tortillas hitting the sky in Laramie.
But yeah, just
do you need to
run through here?
Well, hold on. Do you need to take out as much of the center of the tortilla and the higher elevation to get to fly? Do you
I
think?
think that's a myth. I think it's a myth. I think you need more surface area because the air is thinner.
There you go. Okay. All right. Would love to see some tortillas flying in Laramie this weekend.
So in Chorrito, that is, according to this old Taco Bell menu, it's the best of an enchilada and a combination burrito topped with mild red sauce, cheese, and olives.
Why the olives? I don't understand that.
And then so Taco Casa makes a chelada, which is the exact same thing. Exact same thing. They also, Taco Bell used to have the Bell Burger, which
Taco
I
Casa.
love a good taco burger. Taco Casa has a taco burger. The burrito, the bean burrito.
It's a staple at Taco Bell.
Of course, but back in the day, it was you could get mild red or spicy green chili sauce with it. Guess what your options are at Taco Casa? If you order a bean burrito, you can get mild or spicy, and the colors of sauces are still the same. The spicy is green and the mild is red.
Yep.
Exact same. You can get a bowl of frijoles at Taco Casa. You could apparently do that at Taco Bell.
Refried
tostadas.
Love the description. Refried pinto beans whipped into a smooth texture, accented with mild red chili sauce and shredded cheese.
It is kind of bizarre to read all these descriptions because it's obviously meant for people who don't
This is
know
like
what Mexican food is. And
like a Tex-Mex
restaurant. We're talking about fast food. We know that. We know that, everybody. Don't come on here and be like, well, that's not what they serve in the mountains of Guadalupe. Like, we know that. But still, there's so many people that are like, frijoles, refried, what? Well, whipped to a smooth. Well, all right, okay. I didn't know what a frijole was.
It's almost like
I'll try that.
Like an intro to Tex-Mex or an intro to Mexican food for like the Midwest or like the Deep South.
Yes.
Either
Tostada.
or. It's fantastic. And
I like that
the
they
menu
clarify that
picture.
it's always Mexican style beans, as if there's another style that they would put.
Ranch style beans or just like
French style. We got some Boston baked style some Boston beans in here.
No, but the menu pictures on the orange to yellow gradient, still a thing.
So yeah, the next time you're at Taco Casa, just think, oh, this must have been what it was like to be at Taco Bell in 1975 or whatever. When did Taco Bell start?
The drink options, Pepsi, just orange, just says orange, root beer, and coffee.
Coffee. That's what I always want with a nice bowl of frijoles is
black coffee.
Big cup of coffee.
If that's not just like like GI redundancy there.
Well, I think I will try one of those enchiladas.
Yeah. All right, man.
Take it home. It's reheatable. It says on the thing.
It's It's fantastic.
That's all I got.
It's game week, man. We had to bring it back to our roots, but it is game week. That'll do it for us in the 23 Personnel podcast, getting you ready for the first game of the 2023 season. Texas Tech heading up to Wyoming to take on the Cowboys. Michael and I are both very bullish on this team, this game, covering the 14-point spread. We'll hit you with the instant reaction Saturday night. Till then, guns up. We'll see you later.
Thank you for listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at Punt Suck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.